immediately concerning when it says the stream bitrate is 265 kilobytes slower than recommended on YouTube. Gonna be interesting, this show, let me tell you, man. It's gonna be interesting. Well, hello and welcome into this Tuesday's movie news. I am Jonathan C. Walsh. Stephen has put it in the chat. Welcome on in. Welcome in on. That's of course a play on a disastrous movie news show from about a year ago, when I was stuttering all day long, slurring my words, all manner of vocal F-ups happening throughout the entire day, and I prayed to just about every god known in the history of humanity that I would not make a mistake within the first 5 seconds of the movie news show I was doing that night. And lo and behold, I actually fucked up within a second, and it was welcome in on instead of welcome on in. That's what happens when you change the intros or the outros on YouTube. Look at this beard. What is going on, man? I've got white hairs, incidentally. That's terrifying. It's just a shambles. But anyway, I'm here to speak about movie news. There has not been a huge amount of movie news, hence why I am doing a movie news show at 11:26 PM on a Tuesday night in Glasgow town, Scotland, Europe, the world, the Milky Way galaxy, the universe. The headline, though, is about this man here. This is a double barrel headline, because he says that he has no qualms, or had no qualms, past tense, because it's happened, the movie's in the can, it's about to release, about playing a Marvel character, or a villain in his case. But he also said in this article that he had no awareness of the MCU at one point, so I'm going to get into that, and what that could mean, the ramifications of that throwaway remark from one Christian Bale. I've no concerns, I have to stress, I'll just say that right away. It's Christian Bale, he knows what he's doing, he doesn't need to know about the MCU. If it was any other actor, I'd be worried. But we'll get into it. This is the man here. Incidentally, I watched the Thor Love and Thunder Force Beach TV spot trailer. This man's going full EastEnders, full London Cockney rhyme at one point nearly, with this character. And it is mental. It's unearthing seeing a guy looking like this and sounding like Phil Mitchell from EastEnders. So, very interesting, the performance that's coming out in the trailers. Cannot wait to see what this man has gave us in terms of a full feature-length performance as a villain in a Taika Waititi Marvel movie, which, having watched all the press stuff up until now, is self-billed as a romantic comedy. So, how the fuck he fits into that, time will only tell. But he was speaking to Total Film. He was asked the question if he had any qualms about joining another superhero film after doing Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. This is what the man had to say on the matter. Absolutely not. No. You could have ended it there, Christian, but he's a man of many words. Very eloquent. A smart man, some would say. Everyone should say. And this is what he further enhanced his thoughts with. That didn't even enter into my head at all. I'd read that, and people would go, oh look at this, he's entered the MCU, and I'd go, I've done what? I haven't entered shit, thank you very much. I'm like, the MCU, I had to ask what that was. Now I think he's telling Porky Pies there, and for anyone that doesn't know what that means a lie. I look so wee, as we like to say in Scotland, so small, as the rest of the world likes to say. Tonight there is something afoot with the camera. I look teeny. I look like Peter Dinklage. I have to stress, man. I am probably about 5'10" in trainers. I'm not that small. I'm a very average man. And I look teeny tiny here. Look, Warwick Davis shit going on here, man. Oh, fucking teeny. Sit up, Jonathan, please. Sit up. Let's get the mic up. Force the posture to be straighter. I think he's telling porcupines, Christian Bale. He absolutely knows about the MCU. I do not believe for a moment he's went into this movie with that level of ignorance. In terms of God the God Butcher, the character he's portraying, I don't think he will have known much about him, but the kind of actor he is, he will have done great research into the character, its origins, where its sort of motivations lie, how it's going to impact on this story of romance of these two lost souls coming back together, Jane and Thor. He will have done extensive research into that character, and he will have imbued the performance with the knowledge. I am absolutely certain this is Christian Bale. This is an Oscar winning actor, an Academy Award winning actor, whatever you want to call it. But in terms of, I didn't even know who the fuck God the God Butcher was up until last year when he was cast in this movie. I've admitted I'm not a huge comic book reader, more of a comic book movie man. But in terms of the MCU, I don't believe he was unaware of the MCU. I think he's playing it coy there. He's playing it for a laugh. He's at it, as we like to say in Scotland. But if he isn't, you could suggest that's a little bit dangerous, because he's going into this and he's almost treating it like, I don't give a shit whether it's MCU, I don't care about this pre-established world, I'm just going to go in and give a random performance and see where the chips lie. That could almost be a full lie, doesn't matter. That could almost be taken as a negative if it's not Christian Bale. But it is Christian Bale, so it won't be a negative for me. It'll be a positive no matter what. This man will bring his A game, he always does. It will be a fucking spectacular performance. It will be one of the best villainous performances we've seen in the MCU to date. But I just want to stress, man, you can't go in with that arrogance into anything. What's the MCU? Everyone knows what the MCU is, Christian. Even you, mate. But look, man, I love the fact he's got no qualms coming in. I love the fact he genuinely doesn't give a shit about superhero movies, human condition movies, romantic movies, whatever it may be, uplifting tales of brotherhood like Ford v Ferrari, tales of redemption like The Fighter. This man will play anything if the script compels him. And there must have been something special in that script from Taika Waititi for him, a man of this standing who is not short of offers in Hollywood and further afield. If it's grabbed his attention and brought him on board, there must be something truly good there from Taika once again. But speaking about his villain, man, we've had Taika Waititi come out, of course the director of Thor Love and Thunder. If you don't know who Taika Waititi is, then I feel pained by that ignorance, but also I'm sympathetic towards you. I feel sorry for you. And almost I feel happy for you too, because you're going to go on a journey, I'm sure, when you discover the man and discover his great quirky sense of humour, his brilliance in his speech, his wacky sense of humour and dress style, and his brilliant fucking movies. I'm sure you'll go on a journey. So I feel sad for you if you don't know who he is, but also I envy you too. But this is what I had to say. I digress. He says he's the most sympathetic villain potentially ever introduced into the cinematic universe that is the MCU to date. They tested the character and he tested the highest of any villain Marvel has had in terms of sympathy, that is. He's on to say this: he brings exactly what you'd want, hope and expect. Chris Hemsworth said, not Taika Waititi at all. I'm telling lies here. And obviously Chris has went on to say it's nuance, complexity, depth, a sort of quirkiness to it that I didn't see on the page. And with any sort of classic villain, the fact you find yourself empathising or asking questions that they're asking or ideas that they're posing, it's not just stock standard sort of evil villain. This is what we've came to expect from this cinematic universe and from all comic book movies, really, since the likes of James, I don't know why, Josh Brolin's obviously iconic fucking villainous performance over not just one movie, not just two movies, but realistically a whole lot of movies. In Thanos, what he did with Thanos, I mean, was it him that started with the cameo? I think it was someone else, but anyway, he's done multiple appearances. May actually only be two fucking movies. I think it was in a deleted scene or something like that, I'm pretty sure it was. But he raised the bar for these comic book movies. Of course, just before that, you had Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And you've had so many great tantalising performances over the years with DC. I mean, fuck's sake, the bar was already up here. Marvel had to almost get to that bar DC had created, with the likes of Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! Fucking hell, that was terrible. I really have to stop taking pot shots at Joel Schumacher, because I liked that movie when I was a little kid, I'm not even going to lie, but I was like 6, so I was a fucking idiot. Now I'm wise, I'm older, I'm allowed to poke fun at it. I didn't even see the bat nipples, I didn't care about bat credit cards, it wasn't important to me. But anyway, I digress. The bar has been set. Audiences expect that kind of villain now in a superhero movie. They're not going to accept a 2D caricature villain. They want to be empathetic towards the cause in many levels. They want to see a fully fleshed out, living, breathing character. And look, we've seen it in Ant-Man and the Wasp with Ghost. We've seen it in numerous MCU movies now. I mean, obviously in Black Widow as well, with the Taskmaster character. It's a character you could relate to. Had been abused and used and experimented on by her father, wasn't it? Pretty sure. So we've came to expect this, and if you're bringing in Christian Bale, you lean on some strange perverted sense of humanity. Maybe humans projecting humanity into this weird and wondrous god-slaying villain. You lean into it, you lean into all of his acting ability. You do not create a caricature villain for Christian Bale. And if you did, he'd make it fully fleshed anyway, just with his brilliance. But look, Tessa Thompson was out speaking as well about Bale and his performance as God the God Butcher. They're all waxing lyrical about this man. They are head over heels for Christian Bale. Every time I see a famous saying, I'm concerned I'm butchering it, because I am notorious for not having one fucking clue about sayings. Head over heels. I think that was it. Josh Brolin as Thanos, Avengers Endgame 2019, Infinity War 2018, Age of Ultron 2015, Guardians of the Galaxy 2014. Guardians was when he had his moment with... Well, when was that? Guardians of the Galaxy then? Really? We went to see that in the theatre? And I don't even recall seeing Thanos. Was that a post-credits thing? He was looking around, wasn't he, in the post-credits, I'm pretty sure. In the shadows, of course, there was an appearance from Thanos at the end of maybe the original Avengers movie in 2012, but it wasn't Josh Brolin, I'm pretty sure. It was some other weird purple-looking fucker. But yeah, man, I mean, look, they were building that over the years, and the performance that Josh gave, again, look, I'm not comparing Josh Brolin to Christian Bale, because there's levels at everything, even in the acting game. And as good as Josh is, and he is good, Christian's great. I think he's better than Josh. But Josh was absolutely outstanding. He gave us a fully fledged character in Thanos. He was mad as fuck. The Mad Titan is the name of Thanos. But you could see from his perspective what he was trying to accomplish. There was a strange sort of rationale in the irrational methods. The rationale sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, cause that he was crusading across the galaxy, trying to act out, snipping half the universe into nothing to create more resources, create more freedom. But it was dodgy as well, because it was almost like Lebensraum, or whatever you call it, Lebensraum, the sort of mad Hitler shit, where a huge country in the middle of Europe has to have more, because they've not got enough space. So it was twisted. But again, great performance, man. That's what you came to expect. He raised the bar. And when you bring Christian Bale in to a Taika Waititi movie with a star-studded cast, man, you're just upping the ante once more. And look, the last movie, Ragnarok, we got a fantastic performance from Cate Blanchett, and that was Cate Blanchett, I'm pretty sure it was, as hell. That was a stunning villainous performance, so you really need to knock it up, notch the levels up a bit. Every sort of one we get now, 4 movie we get now, had conflicts between Ronan and the movie. Really? That's completely left my brain. I've totally forgot about that. That's mad, isn't it? He had conflicts with Ronan. Ronan's a bitch compared to Thanos. That's mad. I mean, he was powerful, Ronan, but wasn't Thanos powerful? He would not be bitch slapping Iron Man, even a fat foreign Captain America, about single-handedly, that's for sure. I mean, he'd nearly get into a fucking dance-off with Peter Quill. Could you imagine Thanos getting into a dance-off with Peter Quill at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy? I think not. But Tessa had this to say. he would make choices that you would be like, oh, it was just so fun to watch, and such dexterity, and also what he did with his body. And he's really in the way that you would assume Christian is, but he also has a sense of humour about it. Look, really fucking excited about Christian being in the MCU, man. He's a great actor. Just seeing him coming back and playing a villain. He's played really one of the ultimate heroes, the goody two-shoes of comic book sort of fandom in Batman. You can say Batman had a degree of darkness within him, but ultimately he's a good man, doing what he feels is right. He's never killed, he's got a no-kill policy, he's a goody two-shoes. So to see him sort of jump the dike, flip-flop, become a villain in Marvel, it's such a compelling thing to see playing out on the screen. And again, I keep saying it, Taika Waititi's such a brilliant director. He gets real performances out of everything he touches, every actor he touches, every fucking scene that he plays out, man. Even the buildings feel like characters. You watch Jojo Rabbit, they're so colourful, but then there's a darkness there because it was the scent of a real Holocaust, sort of tragedy. This man knows how to eke every sort of percentile out of performance. So you match him with a brilliant actor like Christian Bale, and inspired Chris Hemsworth thanks to Taika. Natalie Portman coming in like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 1980s. There's just so much going on here, there's so much potential here. I'm so excited for it, man. I cannot wait to see this movie. This is one I'll be going to see opening weekend. No multiverse of madness shit happening here with this. Looking forward to seeing it. He had no qualms playing it, I respect it. This is a man who doesn't care about whether it's a comic book movie or not. He's not so pompous. But then he also prefaces it by saying that he didn't know it was the MCU. He didn't even know what the fuck the MCU was, so maybe there's a degree of ignorance there as well. But look, man, I'm going to quickly get back to this and briefly touch upon this. I've not actually even read this article, but it's connecting to the cinematic universe that is the MCU. I'm just going to keep saying that tonight because I started with it and knew it's a thing, so I'll continue with it. And yeah, seems like it's been a while since Phase 4 and 5 indeed get announced. And of course, we've still not even get a release date, I believe, for Blade at this moment in time, the Mahershala Ali movie. But it does feel like a long time. I want to say it's been at least 2 years or so since that was announced. The slates may even have been further back than that, maybe 3 years now. And there's a lot of people getting uncomfortable. They want to know what's coming next because people are never fucking happy just getting what they're getting. Like 20 TV shows and 10 movies in a year. They want more. And of course, Kevin Feige's been asked. It's also a thing. Total Film are doing a big special for Thor Love and Thunder's release. And I've got a hold of the main man himself and asked him what's in store for the MCU's future. And he had this to say. He's a very succinct man. And that's what I love about Kevin. A man of few words, but they're always pertinent words. He had this to say. I think there have been many clues already, but are at least apparent to me, I should say, of where this whole saga is going, but we'll be a little more direct about that in the coming months. So to set a plan, so audiences who want to see the bigger picture can see a tiny bit more of a roadmap. I think it's clear to me that they're going down a multiverse route. The variants is a thing, just to bring the likes of Tom Hiddleston back as Loki, because you've killed him. It was a really emotive sort of emotional moment with his brother. And you don't just want to scrub that clean, you've got to take that character on a journey and make it worthwhile, bring it back into the main saga. See, that gives you an opportunity to explore multiverse and doing all that rigmarole. Gives you a chance to explore different characters from different universes. And then you've got the Kang the Conqueror character, who's just the overarching sort of connective tissue throughout that entire sort of concept, multiverse. A man who goes back and changes the great conflicts in history and makes himself look like the victor. A man who's full of hubris, but then there's some 50,000 million infinite versions of him floating around, so you can have good versions, bad versions, evil versions, not so evil versions. I've just said the exact same thing with different words. Doesn't fucking matter. And you've got a great actor in Jonathan Majors portraying it, so for me that is the key sort of thing, the theme of this phase and the phases beyond. That is what this saga is about, I'm hoping. Multiverse, Kang the Conqueror being the Thanos, potentially, until a bigger, badder guy comes along and swipes him out the way. And just using that to bring in the likes of Fantastic Four and stuff like that. That's going to be so exciting to see where they go. Can they better the Infinity Saga Lord knows time will tell. But we're moving on, man, to this. Star Wars. Star Wars, King of the Galaxy. I can't remember the words. What was the words again? That was Lemmy. Fuck me. Oh, I can't remember. Saving the Galaxy. I can't remember. That's going to haunt me. Such a fucking brilliant random techno tune that Brian Lemmy Lemon came up with to the theme of Star Wars. The Star Wars theme. And it'll come to me, I'm sure. But anyway, I'm speaking about Star Wars. Millie Bobby Brown of Stranger Things fame. And of course, Enola Holmes, I want to say that was the name of it. That Netflix movie with Henry Cavill. She's in talks, apparently, with Star Wars, over a role with Star Wars, with Lucasfilm, over a potential Star Wars role. Fighting for you and I, fighting for me. That's it. Star Wars. Search it up. Brian Lemmy Lemon, Star Wars. It'll come up. It'll bring some joy to your life for about a minute and a half. And then you'll forget about it. Until you don't. And it comes back again, like an earworm. But as you can see here, it's actually a rumour. It's just a rumour that she's had informal conversations with Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy, according to the Mirror Brown and her father and manager Robert, whoever the fuck that is, just Robert, are keen for the Stranger Things actress to add her name to the Star Wars roster. And this is what they say down here. It's a sizable quote. Millie is on Disney's radar for the new Star Wars projects. She's had contact with Kathleen, who's aware of her desire to feature in a movie or a play a central role in one of the new TV projects for Disney Plus. This is a source says in the report, potentially an unnamed source, potentially a non-existent source, potentially a very much existing source, and this is happening. Time will tell. But they continue to say, this source, the conversations are informal, but there's huge mutual respect there. The Disney executives know just how much of an icon she is already for the 10 to 30 year old audience. And what that brings in terms of appeal, that's such a strange demographic, isn't it? 10 to 30. Okay. In terms of appeal, she could easily take home $15 million for a first film or series, and she doesn't need to audition. It's more a case of how the director and her bond. She has the gravitas to hold down the lead for that universe. Now, I'm going to go back to that demographic. 10 to 30s, wild. 10 is a child, 30 is a full-blown fucking adult who could potentially have multiple childs. Could have 2 10-year-olds, maybe, if she has twins. Could have maybe a 10-year-old and a 15-year-old, depending on how randy they are. So to throw 30 in with 10 is a strange demographic, ain't gonna lie. But in terms of Millie Bobby Brown, I'll bring it back up. You see the image that's been photoshopped. She does strike a rather strange resemblance to the late Carrie Fisher as one Princess Leia. I could see her playing Carrie Fisher. Or see her playing Princess Leia, I should say, not Carrie Fisher. Going a bit Inception there. I could absolutely see her playing Princess Leia. Maybe even in a Luke Skywalker. And yes, I did say Skywalker, and I don't know why. In a Luke Skywalker TV show. Maybe even in a Princess Leia TV show. Lord knows we've had Claudia Gray, I believe it is, novelist, done some great Leia novels about the political minefield that was her career post Return of the Jedi. The knowledge of Darth Vader being a Farah out there, it was being used against her. They were tarring her with the sort of same, I don't know, dirt that her father had. Also being the most evil man, second most evil man in the galaxy for a 20-year run, 15-year run, whatever it was. And just the implications of that, how that affected her, how that maybe affected Luke, you can bring it all together. I feel there is potential here. And look, I know Kathleen's come out and says recently, we're done recasting younger versions of established characters. I just hope that's all an elaborate bullshit. Double bluff. So, we simply must get a Luke Skywalker TV show set between Return of the Jedi and, of course, The Force Awakens. Mark Hamill can't do it. You can't have an entire TV show with a lifeless sort of deep fake being the main anchor. So in terms of Luke's potential storyline and TV show, you bring in the great Sebastian Stan, who wants to do it, who looks like him, but it's also a good enough actor in his own right that he will put his own stamp on the character and give us something unique, whilst also looking like the son of fucking Mark Hamill. And then you've got this great actress here, Millie Bobby Brown, could potentially play Princess Leia. Now, she is significantly younger than Sebastian Stan, and you would have an issue there, but they have great de-aging over at Disney, and you can make it work somehow. I'm not saying the two of them have to fucking share screen time together. They don't even have to appear in the same goddamn TV show. But you have two actors who strike a glaring resemblance to two great original trio actors, and you have a time period there that is absolutely ripe for the picking in terms of storylines, in terms of driving these characters, showing us their motivation, showing us their growth in that 15, 20, 30 year period, whatever it was, between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. Why not do it, man? In terms of Millie Bobby Brown, she's in the prime of her life. I think she's like 17, 18 years of age, maybe a little bit older. Get fucking years, man. And even if you don't want to do Leia, you can do something completely different. I'm absolutely for this actor coming in and playing her own Star Wars. I'd rather it be a TV show though, because I fundamentally don't agree with Star Wars doing movies anymore. I've been bitten too many times. It's a medium that's dead for Star Wars for me, at least for the next decade. Taika Waititi aside, maybe Patty Jenkins, but then again, I did see Wonder Woman 1984, and man, it wasn't good. So, Taika aside, stick to TV, put her in a good role. Leia, anything, I don't give a shit. Timeline, doesn't matter. And let her anchor. They're absolutely right. She is a bit of an icon. She has that following from Stranger Things. And she will absolutely tick a multi-demographic fan base who will come in and watch her anchoring a TV show. I would be all for it, man. I'd love to see it. But as much as they are trying to get Millie Bobby Brown in the door at Lucasfilm doing a TV show, they are apparently completely ignoring this man right here, Ethan Hawke, which is strange, because of course he was in Moon Knight very recently, which is also a Disney umbrella project, Marvel, within the sort of TV universe of the MCU. And by all accounts, absolutely fantastic. I've still not seen it. I have to fucking watch that TV show. I don't know why I've not seen it, because I love Oscar Isaac. I love the trailers. I love the logo. I'm going to watch it. But I don't know how good he fucking was in it. But he's having a bit of a moment, Ethan. You've got The Black Phone coming out. Looks like a great horror movie from Blumhouse. I need to go and see that in a theatre. That's getting rave reviews. That's not something you watch in a streaming service on a TV in your house. Even with the lights dimmed, it's not the same. You watch that movie. That movie looks creepy. But it also looks like a great performance from this guy. He's playing a bit of a serial killing psychopath, child murderer. So he's having a bit of a moment, is Ethan. He's on a run, reminiscent of maybe Keanu Reeves when he hit the ball at the park with John Wick and went on a bit of a renaissance, or McConaughey on a lesser level, of course, when he hit the ball out the park numerous times and won a fucking Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club. I'm not saying he's on that level, I have to stress, but he's on a run, and the man is a avid Star Wars fan. He wants to be in Star Wars, and by all accounts, they're just not answering his calls. They're not even calling him. He ain't calling them. But it's not happening. He was having an interview with Screen Rant regarding his role in The Black Phone, and they went off on a nice, happy little tangent. And they asked him about it, and this is what he had to say. Isn't it amazing? I mean, I did a hard public pitch. I know when I see all these great people in these things, and I could have played that part. I guess somebody out there doesn't like me. Screen Rant say that cannot be true. It can't. They're right. And he went on to say, I think they've got something. What I make myself feel better is, I think they've got something really good in mind. And he's on to say, exactly, I want something really good, but I'm enjoying the new Obi-Wan series. Why not bring Ethan Hawke into a Star Wars TV show, man? It's perfect. This guy could play a hero, he can play a villain. He can do it all. He's a brilliant actor. He's in the heat of the night just now. I'm just going to use that reference, I don't know why. Sidney Poitier, clearly still in my mind. Rod Steiger. He's having a moment just now. He's running hot. He's in form. Get this motherfucker in a Star Wars TV show. Make it so, number one. Maybe even get him in Taika Waititi. his movie, because I just feel he's got that ability to harness that humour and give us a great performance from it. But yeah, happy to see Millie Bobby Brown in talks potentially for a Star Wars role. Would love to see her playing the late great Carrie Fisher's iconic role of Princess Leia. I'd love to see them connecting all of this, Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker, Leia, the whole shebang, connect it all together into a nice harmonious universe, TV universe. Maybe even make movies from them if you really feel the need to, and there is an actual reason to do it. Bridge that gap and make it more palatable when we see these grizzled, older, completely unrecognisable versions of beloved characters. That's how you do it. But they won't do it, of course, because that'd be too fucking good to be true, man. But look, I'm going to speak about this briefly. Then I'm going to very even more briefly touch on the final topic, which is Indiana Jones 5. You know what, I'll touch on that just now. Fuck it, I'll bring that up just now. I'm personally offended here with this headline, incidentally. This is coming in from MovieWeb. Indiana Jones 5 producer says fans will be very happy with the sequel. Indiana Jones 5 producer. This is worse than the Fall Love and Thunder director last week. It's Taika fucking Waititi. He's a director. He's an Oscar-winning screenwriter. Fall Love and Thunder director. It's fucking harder to write that than Taika Waititi. These motherfuckers relegate Frank Marshall to a subheading. This is Frank Marshall. This guy is one of the most esteemed producers ever to grace Hollywood. Him and Kathleen Kennedy is a great duo, husband and wife duo. This guy is one of the truly great producers. He's been involved in some of the fucking my most favourite movies as a kid and getting older. How in the fuck can you not just say Frank Marshall says fans will be happy with the sequel? Do you think people don't know who Frank Marshall is? If they don't know who Frank Marshall is, they've got no business being on a movie news fucking website. Get out. Go and research him. Make yourself more book-worthy and then come back and fucking read the headline and know who Frank Marshall is. That's pathetic, MovieWeb. But anyway, he's been out and he's been speaking about Indiana. I'm briefly touching upon this and then I'll move back onto the other topic to end the show. Yeah, that's to say, it's a great story, it's a great character, and I think you're going to be very happy with this movie. It's everything I think that everybody wants out of an Indiana Jones movie. And of course, this is a guy that worked on, as they say down here, I think it's fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark, the full shebang, first instalment. So he knows what a good fucking Indiana Jones movie is. Does Frankie boy. So I trust him more than the likes of maybe, I don't know, some banger on YouTube who's got an agenda against Kathleen Kennedy and wants to just go after James Mangold for some reason and criticise and destroy this movie down to its foundations before it's even made, before it's even a week out of production, before it's even a week into production they were going after the movie. So I want to believe this, and I do believe it, because it's Mangold and I respect that guy as well. He's a great director. And it's Harrison Ford really swinging for the heavens here, because this is the last chance for him to portray this character. And he'll want to go out on a high after the disaster it was, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I think that's what the name of the movie was. It was terrible. He'll want to redeem himself. This was always his favourite character anyway in terms of big franchise movies. And I'm sure he will put a performance in. I'm sure they will give us something special here. And I just loved the vibe of it, man. I loved the concept of, I think it was Operation Paperclip, I want to say. That's the name of the operation. Where the United States government brought all of the Nazis, the esteemed scientists, over post-World War II, spared them any jail time or convictions for their horrific actions in some cases. And in fact, in the complete opposite, fucking promoted them into highfalutin positions within NASA and MIT and stuff like that. And they were involved in the space race and propelling the United States ahead of the Soviet Union. That's what this is going to delve into. Nazis sort of infiltrating the upper echelons of the US state. And Indiana Jones being confronted by this. And just conspiratorial. It sounds so fucking interesting. That was a leaked script. I hope it's fucking right, because it was pretty damn good. But he's going to say this, it's really up to the creative forces that are behind this one, so I leave that to Jim Mangold. As a producer, I always look at my role in these movies as a supporting vision of a director. It's like going back home. It's relaxed and fun and very comfortable, like a home-cooked meal. Love that, he's going back to his roots. Bring this up very briefly. What's going on here, man? Get back to his roots. And he's doing something that obviously inspired generations of people, man, to love those movies, love that character. You can never underestimate the influence someone like Indiana Jones or Harrison Ford's Han Solo character, for instance, or even Leonard Nimoy's Spock. The influence these characters have on young people growing up, they shape their lives, they go on a journey with these characters. Hugely inspirational figure, Indy, and this guy had a huge part to play in it, with the likes of Spielberg and stuff like that. But it was Spielberg, wasn't it? I'm not fucking doubting myself, it's getting late. Pretty sure it was Steven Spielberg that done Indy. Even though I'm getting worried it wasn't. It was, wasn't it? It was. It was. It's getting fucking late and it's so warm in this room, man. But just great to see Frank's involved. I didn't realise he was there in terms of producing. It was all the attention was on Kathleen Kennedy and her being this malevolent force, all the right wing bitches getting after her and getting moaning about her. I'm not a huge fan of her Star Wars stuff, but you cannot denounce her ability as a producer. So she was on set. That was a bugbear with them. That's a fucking producer's job, to be on the set. They work in tandem with the director and the talent in front of the camera, behind the camera. They're producing the movie, man. They are the sort of they make things tick. They are the producers. That's their job. That's her job. That's what she does well. That's what she should go back to. She shouldn't be president of Lucasfilm. She should go back to producing movies with her husband, because that's what they're really fucking good at. But I'm really looking forward to this movie, man. I like the concept. If it's even a modicum of truth in it, that script, it excites me. This sort of paperclip thing, the Nazi thing in NASA, Indiana Jones, it's in the 50s after the war. Just sounds so fucking interesting to me. I'm really, really excited. I hope Mangold gave us another hit, because Lord knows, guy's a pretty good director, man. Knows what he's doing. And he's gave us some special movies in the past, and he was nearly giving us a Boba Fett movie before there was a backlash against Solo. But look, man, I digress. I'm moving on. Across the Spider-Verse, this is the final topic. Has a cool costume. I've done ... I don't know fucking why, but I have. And as you can see here, the villain that was announced last week, The Spot. Why am I speaking about this? Because it gave me vibes of Portal. And I just thought it was such an interesting idea from the likes of Lord Miller and Kent Powers, who's directing the movie. I think there's multiple directors, but he's probably the main one. Such an interesting and fresh concept to take with a villain. Again, you speak about quirky villains, not being caricature, 2D villains, having a bit of something about them. If you can't make it a fully fledged, and I'm not saying that's not the case with this character, if you can't make it a sort of humanistic, fully fledged character with sort of relatable characteristics, a relatable sort of mission, if you like, for lack of a better word, then at the very least make it a visually arresting character. I mean, Lord knows we got that with James Gunn's Suicide Squad, that big fucking huge eyed alien thing. It was visually arresting, and you could see that Peacemaker almost became the villain in that movie for what he did to Joel Kinnaman's whatever the fuck that character's name was. Even now I don't remember. I did at the time, but I don't now. It's been a while. Incidentally, we were speaking about that. When the fuck did Suicide Squad come out? We were speaking about that just yesterday, me and Stephen. How many movies we went to see in the theatres this year, and we're a little bit lower than usual. It was late 2021, so it's not this year. Shit. Yeah, it was a while back. I can be forgiven. What is his name, man? That is annoying. I forgot his name. Doesn't matter. Visually arresting villains, and you don't get much more visually arresting than this. The reason I'm bringing Suicide Squad up as well is it almost reminds me of the Smalkeen's Polka Dot Man. The sort of whiteness, the black spots, but these ain't sort of a multi-dimensional fucking virus that's coming out and wreaking terror upon the world. This is almost like a multiverse in itself. Portals to another time, breaking space and time, bending gravity, as you can see here, the image, he's kicking, his legs going through the body and going out and actually hitting, potentially Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, the other side. What an interesting concept to take for an animated movie. It's really, really unique, and I like it a hell of a lot. And I'm just going to get the quote. I'm sure there is a quote, and it's your man. Who is it that's actually saying this? Is it Kent Powers himself? I think it is. I think this is Kent. Yeah, it is Kent Powers. This is what he had to say. Look at that fucking shot, man. It's so cool. Just in terms of just a sheer visual level, not getting arms put through his head and through his chest and stuff like that, and using it to reverb it back and punch the person who's actually attacking him. Just him standing, that is an incredible look. I just think it's such a cool fucking character. There is an endless pit of zany different characters that are relatively unknown, that we don't know about in the comics like this, that can be brought out, just snagged out like a thread and gave to us and bring joy to the world. I'm going to read what he fucking said. This is what I had to say. From the very beginning, he just seemed like endless potential, both visually and arc of a character, and the arc of a character, I think, because you know, by the way, that's not a costume, that's his skin. By the way, by the way that he's wearing it, you know it's not a guy in a polka dot suit. That's actually his skin, you know. The arc of Dr. Owen's spot is one that does really complement, without giving away the story, it really does complement the journey of Miles in this film really well. Now, I don't know enough about Dr. Owen, but once again, you think of Spider-Man, you think of the likes of Dr. Octavius and stuff like that, slightly mad scientist doctors. Again, you think of Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, and it's something that pops up time and again. These brilliant minds that turn evil, sometimes unwillingly evil, and end up becoming a thorn in the side of Peter Parker, or Miles Morales in this case. It's something that's been a constant theme in the Spider-Man comics, and it's nice to see it potentially getting done here again without just limited. I've gotten zero knowledge in actual fact, not limited, of Dr. Owen, but I seen the image, I thought that's very cool. I'm going to speak about it. But it's such an interesting concept. Just to punch, and it's like Portal, the video game. And I love that game, man, where it's just mind bending, and it'd be a complete pain in the arse to fight against. I don't know how they address this, where you've got these sort of dimensional holes in the actual character. How do you land a blow on him? I presume you just punch an area that isn't a sort of vortex, a portal, unless they shift and change size, in which case it's almost impossible to fucking beat this guy. As you can see here, I'm maybe getting a brief history lesson before I wrap it up. Originally created by writer Al Milgrom and illustrator Herb Trimpe for Peter Parker the Spectacular Spider-Man number 98. The Spot is a somewhat obscure villain from the Spider-Man comics. It's fucking great, you can do that, you can bring these obscure sort of characters out. I love it, I think that's brilliant. And this is the medium to do it and test it. Dr. Jonathan Owen was a scientist working for Kingpin, the first Spider-Verse film's villain, who was tasked with artificially recreating the Cloak's powers and accidentally created a circular black portal in the process. After stepping through the portal, Owen emerged sometime later covered in black spots that led to various dimensions. That is fantastic, isn't it? That does play in, because it's a sort of, again, multiversal concept. And just this is what this guy does. Miles, he taps into multiverses, he does different crazy shit, he hooks up with various different characters. Love it, fucking love it, man. I love the concept. I says at the time when they announced this movie I was excited for it, but they had their hands tied, in a sense, because for me it was the second best Spider-Man movie ever made. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Just such a brilliant concept, all the different artistic styles, the great voice acting. Miles Morales in there, such a compelling, more youthful in a way. And I wanted to do it without saying the whole urban thing, because I know that's potentially offensive, but he was just different. He was more hip, cooler than Peter Parker. Peter Parker's a bit of a nerd, a geek, a bookworm who happens across this spider on a sort of fucking science trip. Just the way he gets bitten as well, Miles Morales, and into the Spider-Verse, he goes with his uncle, there's graffiti in a sort of tube, and it happens. He's just a different character. He's a better character in many ways than Peter Parker. So it was just to see that playing out in Spider-Verse, it was such an alluring watch for me, and for me it's the second best fucking Spider-Man movie ever made. So you've got your hands full trying to better that right off the bat. But some of the choices they're doing, the casting choices and the villain, they've got off to a good start for me. I'm excited to see if they can better that movie. They've got their hands full, but I've got faith in them. Because really, Sony have only made 1.5 bad Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man 3, but no, two bad Spider-Man movies. And they've made, off the top of my head, 3, 5, 8, 9. Get on to their 10th Spider-Man movie. I think 2 for 10 is not too bad. I think that's a decent fucking record. So they know what they're doing in the main. Sony. That's what I'm saying. Well, man, that's going to round it up. I am done. I am done speaking. It is 9 minutes past 12 AM here. Very fucking late, even for me. I'm going to get my dog out for a walk. And I'm going to rattle some digestive biscuits like a fucking rock and roll star does, you know. Like Liam Gallagher himself. Rattle a good digestive. I've had my drink out the way today. It's time to get into the digestives and a cup of tea. What's your thoughts on the topics I have touched upon on the show tonight? What do you make about Christian Bale having no qualms about joining the MCU, although he didn't know it was the MCU at the time, apparently, and portraying a Marvel character after playing the iconic Bruce Wayne Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy? What's your thoughts on Millie Bobby Brown being in talks with Lucasfilm for a Star Wars role? Ethan Hawke not even getting a fucking phone call off of them, despite, in a sense, kickstarting a campaign online to be in a Star Wars project of any kind. I don't know why I'm doing that. I did say phone call, to be fair, didn't I? That was like Darth Vader there. And yeah, try to think of the other topic I spoke about there. Indiana Jones 5. Indiana Jones 5. What do you make about the great Frank Marshall coming out and saying he believes fans of the series will love it? They will enjoy it very much. It's a good movie. He seems to know what he's talking about, that guy. Maybe we should get into that producing game. What's your thoughts on that? And finally, across the Spider-Verse, this Spot, Jonathan Ohm, villain, the concept, the implementation of this movie, is it something that excites you? Can they better the first Spider-Verse movie? Share your thoughts down below in the comments if you've got anything to say about that, anything at all. That's the place to put it. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications on YouTube, hit the follow button over on Twitch, notifications button over there as well, you can see us over there. But regardless of what you do, thank you for fucking watching. I'm done. Until next time. Tomorrow to be precise. Bye bye. Is it going to be tomorrow? I don't know if it will be tomorrow, you know that? When I come to think about it. We're going to be we're going to be doing a lot of recordings tomorrow. May not be tomorrow. Maybe Monday. But we'll be back. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know where.